I'd ever seen before. Sea green eyes and long blonde hair, cool smooth smile and didn't have a care. I don't know why, but she walked my way. I was scared to death, but I was ready to play. Love at first sight sets the spirit free. I felt the dark clouds part, I heard the angels sing. My heart caught fire and my soul can fly. That's when I knew I had to make her mine. 2 days passed.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you're going. It just matters that you're here right now and you consider yourself a Middle American. Now, we do not care about the crazies on the far left, the 20% of the crazies on the far left. We do not care about the crazies, 20% of the crazies on the far right. We just care about everybody that's Mickey in the middle. Listen, we're Middle Americans. The show is not me being in the middle on all issues. However, I have found that tonight is very applicable. Hello, am I on there? Yeah. Tonight, things are very applicable to me being in the middle because people are picking sides on each side. And I just want to let you know that tonight is going to be perspective because once we get into the show, I hope that everybody understands more of the perspective that I come from, because the simple fact of the matter is that we as Americans have a duty to each other to understand what in the heck is going on in this world. And the simple fact of the matter is that when I speak, I only speak for myself, but I do believe that multiple things can be true at the same time. So earlier this week, somebody put out a post. Let's do the formal stuff first. Let's do the formal stuff first. Hey, we chatting? Yeah, we do have the chat up. So wrong. All right, so we have the chat up. All right, so let's do the standard stuff that we do normally, and then we'll get into the show where I'm going to explain two things can be true at the same time. So here we go. We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Aha, current world population is 8,231,000,000, and the debt clock is we're now over $37 trillion in debt. Is that crazy or what? Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that we're $37,000 in debt. All right, so what are we talking about tonight? So earlier this week? No, it's Wednesday. So this had to be last week. Somebody that I was reading their things, he's a friend of mine. I've known him for a really, really long time. He's a smart guy, great guy, funny guy. He is constantly putting out great material on the Facebook. He's very, very smart. He's very, very learned. He has a great education. He's got a great family, everything he does. He put something out to the effect of, ICE, why are cops wearing masks if they're good guys? And what would it be like if somebody just grabbed you and threw you in a van without announcing who they are and without having any identification? They were wearing masks and they threw you in and they threw you in jail. And then they deported you to a country without any due process. I had a problem with that. And the reason why I had a problem with that is because the simple fact of the matter is that multiple things can be true at the same time. And I kind of took offense to that. I was in special operations for a while. Nothing special. I didn't do anything special, right? But I was in the Air Force Special Operations Command, dealt with a lot of people, and a lot of those people had masks, and a lot of those people did things around the world that they covered up their face when they were doing the thing. Why? Because they did not want to be identified. Now, my point was, I did not mean to uh, be offensive to the individual that wrote the post, but I came off as a little bit crass and a little bit high and mighty, and I apologize for that. But there's a big difference between good guys and bad guys wearing masks. And that is one of the things that we have got to get perfectly clear, because here's the problem. Here's the problem. Good guys that wear masks are wearing them for a different reason than bad guys wearing masks. Now, nobody should be snatched up off of the street without having anybody identified. And I doubt that that's happening. I doubt that the police are showing up and ICE are showing up and they're grabbing people and throwing them in a van and they're never saying anything to the people at all. They're stuffing and cuffing them. They're blindfolding them and putting them in handcuffs. They're cuffing their feet. They're throwing them in a sack. They're throwing on an airplane. The next thing you know, they're in Angola, Zimbabwe, Nicaragua, El Salvador, wherever. Here's the thing. Nobody's shown me any proof that that's happening. They say it a lot. Hey, my cousin was grabbed by ICE and ICE wore a mask and they never identified themselves. I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm pretty sure that every time that I've ever seen any police action, the police or ICE or the feds identify themselves. If they kick in a door, they're yelling, "We're the police," or "We are ICE," or "We're the DEA," or "We're the FBI," or "We're the CIA," or "We are the Sheriff's Department." No law enforcement agency is going to kick in a door and not say something. They're going to say something. You want to know why? Because they want the information out there. So if you break into a place, they're probably going to, if they're going to kick in a door someplace, they're probably going to go, where are the police? Kick in the door. Where are the police? Get down on the ground or whatever. I'm against no-knock warrants. I'm against no-knock warrants. The reason why I'm against no-knock warrants is because they happen in the middle of the night. They happen when people are not expecting it. And you don't know whether that's a criminal breaking into your door and you have to defend yourself or whether it's the police. Even if the police break in your door and they say that they're police, it's still not enough time for you to process that information because you're thinking about defending your life and defending your kids. So I am not for no-knock warrants. Listen, sit outside and wait for them. Nab them on the way to work. Nab them somewhere else, but you don't need to be kicking in any doors in the middle of the night, whether you're police or whether you're not. The problem is that gangsters, the cartels, the bad people in the world also kick in doors and they can say, hey, we're the police. Here's what the difference is. If after somebody in the cartels or somebody in the mafia or somebody in the kicks in your door, they're shooting you right then and there. They're not going to put you in handcuffs. They're not going to take you away and put you in a van. And if they do, you got bigger problems than it being ICE or the cops. See the way that diverges? It immediately diverges. As soon as somebody catches you, it immediately diverges on whether they're good guys or whether they're bad guys. So it doesn't matter whether somebody breaks into your house and they're wearing a mask or not, because immediately, if they yell police, hey man, it's a bad situation all around. But if they're just grabbing you, hey, I expect you to fight back. I don't know what I'm going to do in the situation, but here's what the thing is. Immediately after it happens, you know whether they're good guys or whether they're bad guys. And I doubt, so there's two things. First thing, I doubt that they're not announcing who they are. Nobody's shown me any evidence that they're not announcing who they are when they show up. Number two, immediately after they come in and you have an interaction with them, you know whether they are good people or bad people, whether they are law enforcement or whether they are not law enforcement. That is very apparent by the way that they will throw you on the ground and they will go, oh, hey, we're going to put you in cuffs and we're going to take you away to jail or for deportation, or whether we're going to put you in the ground because we're going to kill you. Third thing, bad people can say that they are the cops. It doesn't matter whether they're wearing masks, whether they're not wearing masks. Bad people can say that they're the cops. Cops will never say that they're the bad guys. They're not going to kick in the door and go, hey, we're the cartel. Or, hey, we're a gang. Hey, we're the mafia. I don't know. We're Yakuza. Japanese gangs. We're throwing them in there just in case. Right? Nobody's kicking in the door saying that they're the bad guys. So multiple things can be true at the same time. The multiple things that can be true is that good guys can wear masks. And you have to think about the reason why the bad people are wearing masks. The bad people are wearing masks so that the good guys don't catch them. And the good guys don't know who they are. Because they don't want the good guys coming after them and catching them. The good guys are wearing masks to protect their identity so that people that are bad people don't come and kill them and their family. Do you see how easy it is to tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys? The bad guys are wearing the mask for nefarious reasons. The good guys are wearing masks only to protect their identity from the bad people. Because the people that we're talking about that are running the stuff through the border, that are bringing illegal aliens into the country, that are bringing fentanyl into the country, that are trafficking persons into the country, all of those people are bad people. They wear masks because they're bad people. And when you're the ICE and you go and you bother their business, when you bother the fentanyl business, when you bother the trafficker business, the human sex trafficking business, or the drug trade, or illegal aliens, when you target that, that means that if you're law enforcement, that puts a target on your back because you're breaking up their business model. So the two things can be true. You can be a good guy and you will have a need to wear a mask. But just because you wear a mask does not make you a bad person. And they're actually passing laws in this country right now where they're saying if you're a good guy person, you can't wear a mask. Are you kidding me? Let me know what you think about this. Am I wrong? Am I wrong to think that because you're a good person, you should be allowed, or because you're a good law enforcement person, you should be allowed to wear a mask? I can't find a good reason why somebody wouldn't allow the law enforcement personnel of this country to be able to do whatever the heck they want to do and remain anonymous as they do it, for fear that our law enforcement personnel will start to be targeted by the bad people who also wear masks. That makes sense. Two things can be true at the same time. Law enforcement can be good and wear masks, and they need to wear masks. Second thing, there's a whole bunch of other things that are out there where this two things can be true simultaneously. Two things can be true simultaneously, right? Let's go with abortion. This is and let me point out, this is one of the problems with the way that everything is presented in the media today. It's all opposite views. You can only have one view at a time, and that one view is going to be a standalone principle in which you must stand. I'll give you a great example of this, right? I'll give you a great example of this. Cops should not wear masks. Cops should not be able to hide their identity. If they're good, they shouldn't have to hide their identity, which is ridiculous. But it also is true for abortion. Let's talk about abortion for just a second. I am against abortion, but I am also for a woman's right to choose. Everybody goes, oh, no, you cannot be for a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to choose and be against abortion. Yes, I can. You want to know why? Because I live in the United States of America, and I understand that my moral principles and my religious background are not supposed to be imposed on everybody else that's here. That's why we have freedom of religion. It's in the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. It says it right there. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise of their or abridging it. The freedom of speech and yada yada yada. Here's what I mean by that. There are people that are not, I'm Catholic, primarily Catholic. I'm also non-denominational Catholic. Isn't that the weirdest thing you ever heard? Non-denominational Catholic. So sometimes I go to Catholic church and sometimes I go to a non-denominational Christian church. But I understand that there are Jewish people and Muslim people and atheist people and agnostic people that are in the United States of America. There are also people that want to worship Satan and want to worship everything else in the whole wide world. There are witches, right? So that means that I cannot take my political views and my religious views and impose them on somebody else because we have what we call freedom. Now, before we had the internet, what they were doing across the street was their own business. Now, because we have the internet, everybody's up in everybody else's business and they're making all judgment-y things. Now, here's what I mean by you can have two things that are the same thing. Number one, I'm against abortion. Number two, women's right to choose. The reason why I say that is because we also have freedom of speech in this country. So that means that if I can inform people and I can go, hey, to all the women that are out there, abortion are bad because of these reasons. And these are the reasons why I would prefer for you not to have an abortion. But I respect your right as a human being to have that, and I'm not going to throw you in jail because you do that. Because I don't think that that's right. And because I don't want to impose my views on you, I can be as opposed to that as I want to be, but I can also understand how you can have your right. So that way you can have a safe medical procedure. Is it killing a baby? That's a different debate. But two things can be true. This is my point of view. It's my point of view. I don't want people to have abortions. So that means I'm going to do everything in my power to convince them to not do that. That means that as a government, we need to get our shit together and we need to go, hey, look here. If you're a woman in America and you have a baby, we need to do everything we can as a country to make sure that that mom and that baby are taken care of and that they can get off to a good start. That way, parents can be secure that their baby girls that have babies are going to be taken care of. And we can't stigmatize a teen pregnancy, and we can't stigmatize pregnancy. And we got to go, hey, every baby is valuable. In some cultures, it's beyond the pale to think about having an abortion because they celebrate every single baby and every single life. If we had that kind of a culture, then abortion wouldn't be an issue. So to me, this is an education issue and a moral issue, in that if more people understood the way that I see the issue, then we would have less abortions. And eventually, if we did it the right way, we would have zero abortions. Do you see how two things can be true? I don't want to, because we live in America, I don't want to criminalize that. That's all I'm saying, is it shouldn't be criminalized. And a lot of people want to make it criminal. So that's how I can be pro-life and pro-women's right to choose. I know it's weird, but that's just the way that my brain thinks, because I do believe that two things can be at the same time. Climate change is another one. I don't believe in climate change. There are man-made climate change. Nobody's proved to me that what man is doing to the planet is, in the way that they're describing it, has to do with climate change. Here's the thing about climate change. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? There's 8 billion people on the planet. Of course, we're going to have an effect on the climate. There's little microclimates. Every time you pour concrete and it absorbs more sunlight. Every time that you do something with water, it affects the temperature. Every time that you have babies and you breathe in oxygen and you let out carbon dioxide, every time that we make a chemical, every time that we start a fire, every time that you know how you cool a house? You know how you cool a house? You take the hot air out of the house and you put it in the environment. Do you know how you heat up a house? You artificially take the environment and you heat it and you pump it into a house, and that causes a little bit of a heat sink. So 8 billion people on the planet are all making heat. We're all using electricity. Of course, we're going to have an effect on the climate. All of the animals that are here, all of the effects on the ocean, all of the things that we're doing. And the climate has been going up and down in temperature ever since we've been able to track that stuff. So the thing is do I care about the planet? The two things about climate change. Do I think that climate change is a thing? Yes, but not the way that they think it's a thing. And here's the second part. Do I want to take care of the planet? Yes. So I can say that I do not believe that the current things that they're saying about global warming and climate change are true, but I also believe in taking care of the planet. Those things can be simultaneously the same, and they can be two ideas that are both true, if that makes sense. God, I hope I'm making sense here. If you look at the war that just started between us and Iran, and it's a war, we started a war. It's not a declared war, but it's a police action, a military action. Here's the thing is, Israel went after Iran because they're saying that Iran wants to kill them. And here's the thing is, Iran has said consistently over the last 50 years that they want to eliminate Israel. They have been at war with Israel through Hamas and through the Palestinians and through the Houthis and everybody else, all the terrorists that they're a state sponsor of terrorists. As a matter of fact, they're so bad that they're against Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the UAE and everybody else. All those people said, hey, look here, man, we're staying out of this. We're not getting on the side of Iran, although we have the same religious beliefs. We're not doing that stuff. They're all Islamic, and we're not having anything to do with that fight. So this is between the United States and Iran, or Israel and Iran, and we're staying out of it. The rest of the Middle Eastern states are all staying out of this. So here are the two things that are true about that. Number one, Iran could be at war with the rest of the world, and they could need a regime change, and they may or may not have nukes. But it's still, right? It still doesn't matter because the cat is now out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag. Here's the deal is, somebody got to talk to Iran and bring Iran back into the peace families, the countries of peace. The Abraham Accords, when Trump went into the Middle East and said, hey, look here, man, everybody needs to become friendly trade partners with Israel, because if you guys trade and if you guys have normal visitation where people from Saudi Arabia can go to Israel and people from Israel can go to Saudi Arabia or the UAE, or they can go to anywhere else over there, Qatar, UAE. If you can get normal trade relations and normal diplomatic relations between the two, then that will bring economic stability and less war and peace to the region. So that means that Israelis can get along with people from Islam. And if we can get the Christians and the Jews and the Islamists to all get along, wouldn't that be great? Then we would have peace. We don't have to kill each other. Here's the thing. Russia could be right about attacking Ukraine, and NATO could be right about wanting to defend Ukraine, because that's the way that fights normally start. People really go to one side and they go, we're right. And the other people go, no, we're right. And that's how a war starts. And then you look at it and you go, well, why did NATO do the stuff that they did with Ukraine? And do you blame Russia? And then everybody goes, yeah, you blame Russia because Russia sent tanks in. And then, yeah, but why did they do it? And you can go back and forth all you want, but the simple fact of the matter is that both countries should come to an agreement and find peace. Here's the last thing I want to say about this. Two things can be true. And I'm going to go back to the ICE thing. I think that we can be nicer about the way that we're doing this. The people that came to the United States of America from other countries are not all criminals. They just want a better life. I'm not going to be a hard ass and say throw everybody out. I'm not going to be. So what happened was it Reagan? I think Reagan or Bush? Reagan or Bush provided amnesty for 3 million illegal aliens with the promise that they would secure the border, which they never did. And then some politicians decided that it was going to be a good idea to fund NGOs, non-governmental organizations, to help people come to the country. Some people say it was businesses that wanted the government to fund this so that the businesses can get cheap labor. I don't know whether that's true or not. But what I do know is it resulted in an influx and a bad border policy, which resulted in millions of people coming from around the world into the United States of America. We're doing okay with them. I would like to point out that we are doing okay with the people that are here. I just came from Northwest Arkansas, and there's a lot of people that are Hispanic descent and a lot of other people that are not native English-speaking people in Northwest Arkansas. You know what? Everybody was peaceable. Nobody was causing trouble. Everybody was working and raising kids. I am sure that some of those people were not documented. Simple fact of the matter is that there's an agency, they want to throw all those people out. Because some people say, don't give them amnesty because they broke the law. So here's the two things that can be simultaneously true. Number one, I want the criminal aliens that came in and were doing fentanyl, trafficking kids, trafficking adults, illegal aliens, bringing fentanyl and all kinds of bad things, and all the criminal gangs. I want them thrown out of the country. But I don't want them throwing out Martina, the mom, and Jose, the person that is working and opened up a business in construction and is giving people, well, they're ruining the economy. Here's what the deal is. The economy's not ruined. These people are already here. So the two things that can be simultaneously true in this instance are, I would like all the criminals gone, but I don't want everybody to go overboard and throw out the good people that are here that are making our country work. We need to be able to find a way to go, hey, listen, can we get these people a new way to be here? Tom Holman and President Trump, because they ran on this bullshit, have gone over the top, and they're making me mad because we're not a cruel country. And they're like, self-deport. Man, a lot of these people have been here for 20 or 30 years. Can we come up with a number that says, hey, look here, if you've been here for at least 10 years and you don't have a place to go back to, that you can stay here? Wouldn't that seem like if you haven't been in any trouble, if you can't prove that they did fentanyl, if you can't prove that they trafficked any children, if you can't prove that they've done anything except work in the United States of America, is there any way that we can just go, hey, look here? Can we let the good people stay? The border's closed. That was the deal. Let everybody stay and close the border and control immigration. So from this point forward, can we let everybody that's here stay except for the bad people? Can we throw all the bad people back into the pond and let all the good people stay and then control immigration through our borders from now on forward? Those are the two things that I want to be true. I don't want to be a mean country. I want to be compassionate. I want to have heart. I want to be the country that we can be, that has the most empathy, the most compassion for the most people. And we can integrate these people into our country, and we can go, from this day forward, you've got to come into the country legally. And if you don't, we will throw you back into the pond. How about that? So that's going to be it for Mickey in the middle of the week. Two things can be true simultaneously. We can be cool and we can be compassionate. We can be empathetic. The climate, we can care about the environment, and we can also think that the climate control, the climate activists are crazy. What else on there? We can think that, hey, people should have a right to choose, and abortion is wrong. We can think all that. It's okay to have two thoughts at one time. So anyway, Mickey, in the middle of the week is over. So thank you very much for showing up. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Mickey in the middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. I will see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Remember to like, share, tell all your friends about it. You guys all be good. Take care. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.